Too often, we live in a world that equates our worth with how well we perform, how polished we appear, or how flawlessly we execute our plans. From a young age, we're conditioned to chase perfection as if it's some kind of holy grail. We're told to always color inside the lines, to avoid mistakes, and to never show the cracks in our armor. But here's the truth: perfection is an illusion, and the pursuit of it often robs us of the very thing we're striving for: authenticity. Smart women understand that perfection isn't the goal, progress is. They know that mistakes are not signs of failure, but stepping stones to growth. They welcome the lessons that come with missteps and setbacks because they recognize that these moments are opportunities to build resilience, gain insight, and move forward stronger than before. Embracing imperfection starts with letting go of the belief that we need to have it all together all the time. It means silencing that inner critic who says you're not good enough or you'll never measure up. Smart women know that self-compassion is a powerful antidote to this inner narrative. Instead of beating themselves up for not meeting impossible standards, they choose to treat themselves with the same kindness and understanding they would offer a dear friend. It's also about allowing ourselves to be seen as we are: unfiltered, unedited, and unapologetically real. There's a certain kind of magic that happens when we drop the mask of perfection and let others witness our vulnerability. It creates space for connection, for understanding, and for others to say, "Me too, I've been there." This willingness to embrace imperfection doesn't just free us from the exhausting burden of pretending, it also empowers others to do the same. When smart women embrace imperfection, they give themselves permission to take risks and try new things without the fear of falling short. They understand that growth and creativity thrive in the messy, uncertain spaces where perfection has no place. They take ownership of their stories, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly, knowing that these stories make them uniquely qualified to lead, inspire, and connect with others in a deeply human way. Let's not forget that embracing imperfection also involves acknowledging our humanity. It's recognizing that we can't do it all, and we certainly can't do it all perfectly. It's about giving ourselves the grace to rest, to recharge, and to show up imperfectly but wholeheartedly. In a world that celebrates busyness and constant availability, prioritizing boundaries can feel counterintuitive, even rebellious. From the moment we wake up, there's a constant pull on our time, energy, and attention: emails, text messages, responsibilities at work, commitments to friends and family. The pressure to be everything for everyone can become overwhelming, leaving us depleted and disconnected from what truly matters. But smart women know that boundaries are not walls meant to isolate. They are bridges that protect their well-being while allowing them to show up authentically for others. Prioritizing boundaries starts with clarity. It's about understanding your values, identifying what's most important to you, and recognizing the activities, relationships, or habits that either align with or detract from those priorities. When you know what you stand for, it becomes easier to draw the lines that protect your time, energy, and mental health. These lines are not acts of selfishness, they are acts of self-preservation and self-respect. The challenge, of course, is that setting boundaries often requires difficult conversations and a willingness to disappoint others. Smart women understand that saying no is not a rejection of a person or opportunity, it's an affirmation of their own needs and priorities. They recognize that every time they say yes to something misaligned with their values, they are, by default, saying no to something else, often their own rest, peace, or goals. Boundaries are also about creating space to listen to yourself. They allow you to step away from the noise and ask, what do I need right now? What is draining me and what is fueling me? This kind of self-inquiry is essential because when we ignore our own needs in favor of accommodating others, resentment begins to build. And resentment is the silent thief of joy. Smart women don't just set boundaries, they enforce them. This doesn't mean being rigid or unyielding, it means being consistent and intentional. It means learning to hold firm when others push back, as they inevitably will. Not everyone will understand or respect your boundaries, and that's okay. Boundaries aren't about controlling how others respond, they're about controlling how you protect your energy and peace. There's also an emotional component to boundaries that's often overlooked. It's not just about physical time or space, it's about protecting your emotional well-being. This might mean stepping away from relationships or environments that drain you, even if they once served you well. It might mean learning to recognize the subtle ways people may try to bypass your boundaries through guilt, manipulation, or pressure. Prioritizing boundaries also involves honoring the boundaries of others. Smart women understand that mutual respect is key to any healthy relationship. When they set boundaries for themselves, they naturally create space to respect the autonomy and needs of those around them. Boundaries become a two-way street where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. Emotions are an integral part of the human experience, yet so many of us treat them as if they're problems to be solved or inconveniences to be ignored. Society often tells us to keep it together, to suppress feelings that might make others uncomfortable, and to push through pain as though it's a sign of weakness. But the truth is, our emotions, every single one of them, carry valuable information. They tell us what matters to us, where we feel safe, where we feel threatened, and what might need our attention. Cultivating emotional agility isn't about controlling or denying our emotions, it's about learning to navigate them with curiosity and compassion. Smart women understand that emotional agility begins with self-awareness. It's about pausing long enough to recognize what you're feeling rather than reacting impulsively or brushing it aside. This might mean asking yourself, what's happening inside me right now? Am I angry, anxious, sad, or something else? Naming the emotion is a powerful first step because it brings clarity to what might otherwise feel overwhelming or undefined. Once we've identified our emotions, the next step is to approach them with acceptance rather than judgment. Too often we label certain emotions as good or bad, trying to cling to the pleasant ones while banishing the uncomfortable ones. But smart women know that all emotions have a purpose. Anger might be signaling an unmet need or boundary violation. Sadness might be urging us to slow down and grieve a loss. Even fear, as uncomfortable as it is, can be a protector, alerting us to potential risks. Emotional agility also requires creating space between feeling and action. It's about resisting the urge to react in the heat of the moment and instead choosing how to respond thoughtfully. This doesn't mean suppressing how you feel, it means recognizing that you are not your emotions, you are the observer of them. Smart women use this pause to ask themselves, what is this feeling teaching me? How can I move forward in a way that aligns with my values? Another critical aspect of emotional agility is learning to tolerate discomfort. Life is messy, and avoiding uncomfortable emotions only prolongs our suffering. Smart women understand that sitting with pain, uncertainty, or fear is not easy, but it's necessary for growth. They lean into the discomfort, trusting that it will pass and that there's wisdom to be gained on the other side. Emotional agility also involves breaking free from rigid thinking. It's about recognizing when we're stuck in patterns of blame, self-pity, or perfectionism and choosing to reframe the narrative. For example, instead of seeing a challenge as a personal failure, a smart woman might see it as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow. This mindset doesn't just help her navigate emotions more effectively, it also builds resilience, making her better equipped to face future challenges. Cultivating emotional agility doesn't mean going it alone. Smart women know that sharing their emotions with trusted friends, mentors, or therapists can provide perspective and validation. Vulnerability in these moments fosters connection, reminding them that they're not alone in their struggles. Finally, emotional agility is not just about managing negative emotions, it's also about amplifying the positive ones. It's about savoring moments of joy, gratitude, and contentment, even in the midst of chaos. By leaning into these emotions, smart women create a reservoir of positivity that helps sustain them during tougher times. Courage is often romanticized as grand, heroic acts of person standing alone against the odds, a bold decision that changes the course of history, or an unwavering confidence that knows no fear. But true courage is rarely so dramatic. For smart women, courage is found in the small, everyday choices that push them beyond their comfort zones and challenge them to live authentically. Courage isn't about fearlessness, it's about showing up despite the fear. Leading with courage begins with vulnerability. It's about being willing to say, I don't know, or I need help when everything in you screams to keep up appearances. It's about risking failure, rejection, or criticism in pursuit of something meaningful. Smart women understand that vulnerability isn't a weakness to be hidden, but a strength to be embraced. When they allow themselves to be seen fully without the armor of perfection or control, they inspire others to do the same. Courage also means standing firm in your values, even when it's inconvenient or unpopular. It's easy to go along with the crowd, to say what people want to hear, or to stay silent in the face of injustice. But leading with courage requires conviction. It's the willingness to speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. Smart women recognize that courage and integrity are deeply intertwined. Every time they choose to act in alignment with their values, they reinforce their sense of self-worth and set an example for others. Another dimension of leading with courage is the willingness to fail. Fear of failure is one of the greatest barriers to action, but smart women see failure as a natural part of growth. They know that every misstep is a lesson, every setback an opportunity to recalibrate. They refuse to let the fear of not getting it right on the first try keep them from starting. Instead of asking, what if I fail, they ask, what if I never try? Leading with courage also means making decisions without guarantees. Life is full of uncertainty, and waiting for the perfect moment or absolute certainty often leads to missed opportunities. Smart women are willing to take calculated risks, trusting their instincts and experience to guide them. They don't wait for all the answers before moving forward. They trust that clarity will come with action. Courage isn't just about individual bravery, it's also about fostering bravery in others. Smart women understand that leadership isn't about commanding others, but about empowering them. They create environments where people feel safe to take risks, share their ideas, and make mistakes. By leading with courage, they give others permission to do the same. There's also an emotional component to courage that is often overlooked: the courage to feel. It takes bravery to confront painful emotions like grief, anger, or fear rather than numbing or avoiding them. Smart women lean into these emotions, knowing that doing so is essential for healing and growth. They understand that courage and emotional resilience go hand in hand. Leading with courage can sometimes mean walking away, whether it's from a toxic relationship, an unfulfilling job, or an environment that stifles their growth. Smart women know when it's time to let go. They understand that staying in a situation out of fear of change is not the same as loyalty or perseverance. Walking away isn't giving up, it's choosing yourself. Courage also involves advocating for yourself and others. Is speaking up in a meeting when your idea is dismissed, negotiating for the salary you deserve, or standing beside someone who feels unheard. Smart women recognize that courage is contagious. Every bold act inspires others to find their own bravery. Finally, leading with courage is a deeply personal journey. It's about knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you're willing to fight for. It's about choosing authenticity over approval, growth over comfort, and purpose over fear. In a world that's increasingly connected through technology, many of us find ourselves feeling more isolated than ever. It's ironic, isn't it? We have hundreds of contacts in our phones, likes on our posts, and endless opportunities to interact, yet meaningful soul-deep connections can feel like rare treasures. Smart women understand that the depth and quality of our relationships have far greater impact on our well-being and happiness than the quantity of acquaintances we maintain. Building intentional connections isn't about networking or expanding your circle for the sake of appearances. It's about fostering relationships that are rooted in trust, vulnerability and mutual respect. Intentional connections begin with authenticity. So often we feel pressure to present a curated version of ourselves to the world, one that's polished, likable, and unproblematic. But smart women know that real relationships are built on honesty, not perfection. They bring their whole selves to the table, including their fears, flaws, and insecurities. This willingness to be vulnerable invites others to do the same, creating a space where genuine connection can flourish. Another key aspect of building intentional connections is prioritizing quality over quantity. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that a large social circle equals success or fulfillment, but smart women focus on the people who truly matter. They invest their time and energy in a smaller circle of individuals who align with their values, challenge their perspectives, and offer unwavering support. These relationships aren't built overnight. They require consistent effort, open communication, and a willingness to grow together. Intentional connections also involve active listening. In today's fast-paced world, listening has become a lost art. Too often, conversations are treated as opportunities to respond or compete, rather than to understand. Smart women know that listening is one of the most powerful ways to show care and respect. They don't just hear words, they tune into emotions, body language, and what Savon said. This kind of deep listening not only strengthens relationships, but also builds empathy and trust. Boundaries are an essential part of intentional connections. While it might seem counterintuitive, boundaries ensure that relationships remain healthy and balanced. Smart women know that true connection doesn't mean saying yes to every request or being available at all times. It means showing up fully when you're able to, without resentment or burnout. By respecting their own boundaries, they model healthy relationship dynamics and encourage others to do the same. Intentional connections also require vulnerability. It's easy to keep relationships surface level, especially when being open feels risky. But the deepest connections are forged when we allow others to see us for who we truly are. This doesn't mean sharing every detail of your life. With everyone you meet, it means identifying the people who have earned your trust and being willing to let them in. Vulnerability is the glue that holds meaningful relationships together, and it's a sign of strength, not weakness. Another important element is reciprocity. Smart women understand that strong relationships are built on mutual give and take. They know that being intentional means both offering support and being willing to receive it. Whether it's celebrating victories, sharing advice, or simply being there during tough times, they invest in relationships in ways that are balanced and equitable. This reciprocity creates a foundation of trust and ensures that both parties feel valued and seen. Intentional connections also involve shared growth. Smart women seek relationships that push them to be better versions of themselves. They value friends, mentors, and partners who challenge their thinking, expand their perspectives, and inspire them to take risks. These connections are not about staying stagnant or comfortable, they're about evolving together. Finally, building intentional connections is about presence. In a world of constant distractions, being fully present with someone is one of the greatest gifts you can offer. Smart women put down their phones, tune out the noise, and engage wholeheartedly with the people in their lives. This presence communicates you matter, I see you, I value this moment with you. It's these moments of true presence that create the foundation for relationships that stand the test of time.